So, who exactly are Jews? Well, Judaism is among the oldest world faiths, since we consider ourselves a religion, a culture, and a nation. We are a people. Wherever we live in the world, we feel like one big family. The Jewish story begins more than 3,000 years ago with Abraham, a monotheist in idolatrous times, who was commanded by God to leave his father's home in Mesopotamia and travel to Canaan, where God promised he will be the father of many nations.
Look toward heaven and count the stars if you are able to count them,
God told Abraham.
So shall be your offspring.
He actually only had 2 kids, but let's jump to his grandson, Jacob. Jacob, also known in the Torah as Israel, had 12 sons who eventually became 12 large tribes, collectively called the Children of Israel. After centuries of slavery, the Children of Israel were led out of Egypt by Moses, our foremost prophet. Then, Moses received the Torah on Mount Sinai. Under Joshua, Moses' heir, the Israelites defeated the local Canaanite nations and eventually created a small kingdom with its capital in Jerusalem, where King Solomon built the first temple. But the good times didn't last long. The empire split in 2, Israel in the north and Judea in the south. The Assyrians exiled the 10 northern tribes from the land of Israel, and the descendants of Judah were the last to remain. Then, the Babylonians destroyed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, and most of them were exiled too. That's how the Children of Israel came to be known as Jews. Over 2,000 years of living in the diaspora, Jews kept Hebrew as their holy language. They developed an oral tradition, which was put in writing in the Mishnah and the Talmud. In daily life, Jews adapted to the cultures surrounding them. For example, Jews in Northern and Eastern Europe, known as Ashkenazim, shaped their culture in interaction with their Christian neighbors. They developed a Jewish language combining German, Hebrew, and Slavic languages called Yiddish. Jews lived in the Middle East since antiquity and were known as Mizrahim, meaning from the east, while those who settled after being expelled from Spain in 1492 were often called Sfaradim. These Jews spoke and wrote in Judeo-Arabic and Ladino, a Spanish Jewish language. Some ancient Jewish communities were established as far away as India and China. According to Jewish law, people born to Jewish parents are Jewish, but conversion to Judaism is allowed. But Jews are more than a religious group, and Jewish identity is expressed in many ways. Some Jews are deeply traditional and choose to have Judaism govern all areas of their lives. Other Jews are completely secular, with very little religious practice, but still identify proudly as part of the Jewish people. And then there's everything in between. Today, about 7 million Jews live in North America, almost 7 million in Israel, and 1.5 million Jews live in Europe and elsewhere across the world. Jews may look very different from one another, but we share 3 important elements. A common memory. Jews came from common ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and share a history and a destiny. A common religion. Judaism gives deep meaning to our lives. No central authority tells us how to practice, but we all base it on a common heritage in the Torah. And a connection to the land of Israel. From America to New Zealand, Jews always pray to Jerusalem and feel a deep emotional connection to the land of our ancestors. That, in a nutshell, is the story of the Jews.